Afternoon, everybody. Shorter recap here today. Right, very lackluster price action. We're expecting this though, however, as we spoke about, because tomorrow we have CPI. So the market's really waiting for that CPI news drop to hit before, right, putting in a move here. On this hourly, just marking out now our potential sell side and buy side. So as we spoke about this morning, today would be the day that we create just that liquidity. So now tomorrow, we'll see which right side of the marketplace price wants to engage with. With that, right, literally have no bias going into tomorrow. So we'll let that play out. 15, pretty ugly, right? Not much significance here. We do want to show, we were referencing this 1 hour fair value gap. Right, seeing if we were going to find support here. That's because this is the 1 hour fair value gap, as well as now that inversion. So if you see it, this is that inversion 1 hour. How they overlap here. And you actually notice, right, what the low of the day ends up being. Right, so if I drag, this is the 1 hour inversion. You see where they overlap just that little bit. That ends up being low of the day perfectly. Right, so not random. Just those algorithmic theories here. Go ahead and remove that now. So heading into, really, I guess, right, London we'll start with. We had seen that London created that trending environment. So power of 3 here in London. Right, we break below the new week opening gap. From that point, use it as resistance. And just continue to break lower and trade lower. Right, all the premiums in here are holding. So just real clean delivery until we got to, right, we spoke about this low here. So yesterday's low was that sell side target. And you'll see that London delivers to that low. So understanding that, that's also why we were expecting, right, just a consolidation to take place the rest of the day. We've already hit our sell side objective in London. So at that point, the rest of the day is just going to mark time, chop back and forth, waiting for that CPI. Here at 9:30, we spoke about how this, right, little dive lower was purely to clear out this sell side. So we were expecting this sell side to get hit. We had hopped on a few minutes before. And we were looking for this sell side because, right, notice this consolidation during that rollover period. This buy side here ends up getting cleared. So right, buy side runs it here, as well as running these equal highs. So now right at 8:30, right, we've already pierced buy side. So understanding we're in a seek and destroy environment, just makes sense that sell side would be our next target. And you see that, right, we start trending lower. Now back down below the new week opening gap. At that point, just looking for this sell side here. We trade through that sell side right at 9:30. Straight into, now this is our 1 hour fair value gap. So right, we were looking to find support here. And you'll see perfectly, right, ends up being low of day. And as we mentioned, that 1 hour inversion is also here. So that's why price stopped right here. We spoke about how this move here was now just that Judas swing. So right, you'll see right at 9:30, all down close candles reaching into sell side, as well as now a discount. So from here, we were just looking for now higher prices and buy side to be met again, right? Continuing to just put in that seek and destroy profile today. So I'll mark out our buy side. You'll see how we bounce here first at that 1 hour fair value gap. Trade back into this little fair value gap here. Right, give it a little failure swing, creating a mitigation block. And now we break up and through, breaking structure. Market structure shift here. Also at this high. Right, more shallow, but still broke that high there. You'll see how we fall short of, though, that new week opening gap low. So at this point, we were just looking for this fair value gap here. If we were going to trade back into it to hold price and deliver us into, right, this buy side and new week opening gap. We understood that this price stopped here simply to engineer that liquidity, right, give a retracement into a discount. We had mentioned this was our mitigation block. Let's refine it just to that little close to the high. If we refine it here, you'll see once again, right where those areas interlap, look how perfect price stops right here, right? Stops right at the low of this 1 minute fair value gap. From there, we break up above. Now use it as support. Look at those bodies. So we respect the low perfectly. Bodies close perfectly on that high. And from there, we attacked that buy side target. So not only were we attacking buy side, but we're also just drawing back into this new week opening gap. So continue to consolidate around that, right? Just kind of as we expected. You'll see how after clearing buy side, hitting the premium, well, now what? Right, just back down to sell side. So just continuing to bounce back and forth. Clear sell side. We clear sell side and return into a discount in the form of this 1 minute fair value gap. So at that point, right, since we've cleared sell side, hit a discount, price reverses, break structure here, putting in now bullish, right, fair value gaps. Candle bodies tell the story, right? Look at the candle bodies just holding that level. Wicks are going lower, that's fine. Simply returning into this here. But the bodies, right, are really what are important. You'll see we create a short-term low. Right now, clear it. So even in these little consolidation environments, notice the mini fractals taking place. Right where a short-term high gets created, short-term low gets created. We run a short-term high, clearing buy side. Right, so imagine here, 15 5-second chart. This is all looking right just like that little seek and destroy. Buy side cleared, sell side cleared. Right now reversing to take out buy side again. But at the same time, this is now also creating, right, just kind of that YouTube model. So we're clearing short-term lows, breaking structure along the way. So even though price is very choppy, right, and was consolidating, you'll see how these PD arrays and concepts still play out. We fall short of this high. So now this high here is a rejection block aligned with the new week opening gap high, right? So that's going to be a good area of resistance. And you'll see how this area holds us that whole morning session. So we're just in between now this rejection block, new week opening gap high, and this 1 hour fair value gap here. But even inside of that, you'll see how we're still, right, engineering liquidity and sweeping it. So as I mentioned, we have this buy side that gets cleared. Like, let me just draw out. Right, we clear buy side here. Short-term high cleared. Right, we create a short-term high here, retrace. Right, and this one here doesn't take out any swing low. We still find support. But you'll notice we created a mini consolidation now in here. So if I was to draw like this, right, you see how this short-term high gets cleared. This short-term high gets cleared. Right, and this short-term low. Right, we clear a short-term low. Right, even within this mini consolidation, right, we could say short-term high cleared here. So see how the market really is just back and forth. To wrap up that morning session and heading into lunch, right, you'll see we tried once, 2 more times to get above this new week opening gap high, but failed. Traded back down, now clearing the short-term low finally. So we spoke about how, right, we had created 3 swing lows that hadn't been taken. So we would want to see if price would gravitate towards that. Heading into lunch, right, we get that. So now this sell side has been cleared. Now you see, right, lunch hour. Lunch hour is what? Basically a mini fractal of what the rest of the day is doing. Right, so the lunch hour creates a little seek and destroy chop, just as the rest of the day is doing that as well. You'll see that we actually still are just holding within this 1 minute fair value gap. All right, so still respecting discounts, just creating choppy environments within them. From here, coming out of lunch, we just break structure, right? Leave a little fair value gap here. Consolidation again, right? Continuing to just do this little consolidation. But ultimately, our target, right, is still buy side here, because we've cleared sell side now here. So if we're going to return from sell side, buy side would be our target. And you see how right during that morning session, we had tried a few times. So now we have relative equal highs here as well. So we would just look for that buy side to be targeted in the afternoon. We ultimately see how right after breaking structure here, respecting this fair value gap, we push up and through our new week opening gap. right, finally pierced this buy side target. And from there, right, you see that that really becomes high that day. So we put in high of the day right at 2 o'clock. So right when that 4-hour candle opens, right, time then price, remember. And at that point, you'll see how we try to break above it, but create perfect equal highs. So now this is how we mentioned, right, price would be engineering liquidity for tomorrow. So now we have equal highs here. And you'll see how we trade off those equal highs, break back down below our new week opening gap. We now use that along with the fair value gaps and premiums left behind, right? Find resistance and continue to now just trend lower. So we hit that sell side here as well. And if I show you where we are now, right, notice original 1 minute here, still holding. So at this point, like we spoke about now, right, we have all this sell side. So all these relative equal lows and this low. And now we have these equal highs here. So heading into tomorrow, as I mentioned, I really have no bias at all. Will that price do what it wants to do? If we were to take liquidity before the morning session, well then I would think sell side more than likely would be that target, right? Just because you see we've taken this buy side. So let me kind of remove all these, make it a little easier. Here on the 5-minute structure, right, higher time frame, we have just cleared this buy side. Well, the opposing sell side to this leg is this low here. But that's why I would expect that this kind of sell side would be hit first before a run on buy side again. But yeah, that'll be all for today. Like I mentioned, right, not too much to talk about here. It's important to remember, why did we expect a consolidation environment like this, right? Because if you can forecast and predict that, then it really saves you the stress of sitting through a market environment like this. And we're expecting this day to be choppy like this because one, right, we have CPI tomorrow. So that in itself is going to create a day that's going to be most likely choppy, right, and consolidate. Aside from that, we had also already delivered into a daily swing point. So we had cleared yesterday's low in London. So that in itself is also another indication that the New York session would be choppy, right, and range bound. So those two things there, understanding that we're also right aligned with a new week opening gap level as well. All these things coming together is how we knew that today would just be choppy, right? Hope you all found that helpful. Remember, our live stream tomorrow will be 1 hour earlier, so we'll get on for the CPI announcement. We'll be on at just before 8:30 to see what occurs. Till then, have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.